Now I mentioned to you when you first got on, and some people might agree. You're looking very similar to the young Lord Jamar, to the Lord J that when Lord J had dreads, going down.
Yeah, I remember. I remember.
You know, yeah, we look like we could be from the same tribe. Certain brothers, with that sharp nose and the high cheekbone.
Yeah.
It's just you can tell when you're from a certain tribe, and I feel like, you must be one of those brothers from my tribe. I don't even know, my last government name is not wasn't born Washington. I don't know any Washingtons. But who knows? We could be connected somewhere down the line. Someone said, I was just thinking that. Are they related? So anyway, brother, why don't you give the people a little bit of your background, your expertise, and all of that good stuff.
Well, I just want to really, really show my appreciation to you, God, for even having me on your show tonight, man. Truly an honor to be here, and so I appreciate you giving me this pathway to share my journey and talk about a little bit about my journey thus far. My whole fitness coaching career started because I decided to take a step outside of corporate America. I used to be an engineer. I did engineering. I was a mechanical engineer. I went to Tuskegee University. Shout out to Tuskegee.
Oh shit! You didn't get experimented on, did you?
Nah, I wasn't there for that.
So when you say an engineer, like I feel like that's kind of general in a lot of people's minds. What kind of engineer specifically? Like what does engineering entail?
So I did specifically mechanical engineering, and what mechanical engineering, it encompasses pretty much a bit of all the engineering types, because the mechanical engineer can therefore kind of mold into any different background that relates to engineering, because we get a bit of everything. We're not truly specified in, say, aerospace or chemical engineering. We get a bit of it all. So, but I took mechanical engineering into the automotive industry.
Right. So I was going to say, so a mechanical engineer, just to clear it up in my mind, could basically build any sort of mechanical thing, like an engine, a plane, a car, whatever type of mechanical. Okay, it's designing mechanical things. Got you.
Right. So, and that led me to corporate America for about 14 years. But in that time, the minute I stepped foot into corporate America, I realized it was not something I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Were you rocking the dreads at that?
Of course, when dreads, of course, were shorter. Before I stepped out into corporate America,
had the corporate dreads.
Yeah. I really wanted the Boba dreadlocks, the Rastaman dreadlocks.
That's a nasty.
I wanted
them clumped together like a big pillow on your bumbarat. Man, those was the really bold locks. I'm gonna be honest. When I first got locks, I was like, that's the ill locks. When you just don't care how they grow. Yeah. Like, fuck it. Some of them look like a tree trunk, and some look like, you know what I mean, an octopus arm. You don't know, like.
Dude, I had some that were like 5, but my 5 fingers. And my aunt decided to break it apart. She said, "No, can't do that." So that
it's a job,
Yeah, but I'm saying before I left college, the whole atmosphere, mood was you're not gonna get a job like that.
Now, where you grow up at?
I grew up mainly in South Florida.
Okay.
But I moved here from Jamaica, moved from Alabama to Jamaica, Jamaica to Florida, and then Florida back to college in Alabama.
Oh, that's really weird.
Yeah.
Alabama to Jamaica.
Correct.
You see, you don't hear shit like that very often. First of all, I don't know how many Alabama Jamaican connections there really are, because I've never really heard of that. It's either like, Jamaica to New York, or Jamaica to like Toronto, or Jamaica to,
Florida.
Yeah.
Or maybe even Atlanta or something like
that. Okay.
But, so engineering, got out, got me a job. I worked with a company for 4 years, and I left and went to Honda manufacturing. I was there for 10 years. And after that, I stepped out into fitness. And fitness was my thing from the beginning, because, I started with the comic books, you know, the Wolverine, Superman.
You
That
want to look like them niggas. Is that what you seriously? Is that what got you? Yeah. You wanted to have that comic book physique.
Right. You know, single mom. You know, I was like, I need to be that superhero, and I decided to design my physique that way.
Right.
And people were, you know, I had one of my boys say to me, he said, "Yo, you know, I told him I said I want to compete." He said, "But you're vegan." I said, "So?" I didn't think it was an issue because I didn't have any problems in that area before.
Now continue to talk. I'm gonna share your IG page as we speak. Just so people can see kind of what we're talking about.
Yeah, so
you know, what do you call it? A fucking action figure. Yeah, that action figure physique. And this is done on totally vegan. Have you ever eaten meat in your life?
So I have.
Okay.
That was after. So I was raised vegetarian. So I started out strictly plants, maybe some dairy that may have been in something.
Right.
But my mom raised me because my mom was of the Seventh-day Adventist way of life.
Okay.
Seventh-day Adventist, you know, you push that health message, and that health message was all about eating from the earth, right? So when we had to go to Jamaica, she sent me and my brother there to her grandparents. My grandparents, you know, them yard people, I said, "Yo, we don't know what vegetarian is." So my mom asked them, "Hey, I just don't want him to have any pork." So we never had pig. So that was only a couple years living in Jamaica, going to school. And then once I came back to Florida, eventually made it back to vegetarian and full vegan. 98 went vegan, and I've been that way. That's when I started to truly work out after. And I didn't start competing until 2009. So I had been vegan for some time, about 10 years that time, before I even started competing.
Now, were you already big when you started? Were
No.
you relatively big? No.
I always just kind of, since I always worked out, I was more of that small muscle guy.
Right.
You know, with like,
you were cut, but not big.
Correct.
Right. I've always been kind of like that myself. Like I'm not big, but I'm cut.
Right.
So yeah, so did you end as you were vegan, did you end up learning how to gain as a vegan? Because this is valuable information now. Like I'm totally ears open. Like, how the fuck you do that?
So my first show, I was about 140 something pounds, like close to 150.
Yes, that's where I'm at right now. Build me up.
So now I compete at about 165.
Okay.
So I was able to naturally, because that's another thing too. The misconception is you not only need to eat animal flesh, you also need to take in anabolics or PEDs to produce muscle, because you know the steroids and what have you increases that muscle protein synthesis, which in turn builds muscle faster than doing it naturally.
Right.
You know, so here I am supposedly going opposite by not eating animals and doing it naturally, but still able to build muscle.
Somebody, thank you, Papa Didas. He said, "Is meat worse than dairy?"
And I would say dairy is worse.
Dairy, right?
Yeah, you can cut dairy first, and you'll really see a drastic change in your health, because that mucus lines your intestinal wall, your stomach. It blocks nutrient absorption, and it causes a lot of allergies, a lot of asthmatic problems. You know, things that really affect your overall wellness. Dairy is probably the biggest culprit.
Right.
Start there, you'll just keep getting better.
You know, my I want to say one of my hardest things to break is that fucking cheese, man.
And you know, casein is that drug.
Huh?
Casein is a drug. It has
That's what's in cheese, casein.
Yeah, casein has that heroin type of addiction.
Talk about it.
Where it taps onto that, you know, it's just similar to what people do with social media right now, you know, where you get that dopamine effect. Casein has that dopamine effect. And you are always attached to it. That's why cheese is usually the hardest one for anybody to break. And my son, who is vegetarian, he's vegetarian because he still likes cheese, but he's never had an animal in his life, and he's about to be 15.
Nice.